Thank you, Merrill. I'm Jeff Finkelstein, President and CEO of the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh. It's my privilege at this time to present the Doris and Leonard H. Rudolph Jewish Communal Professional Award. The Rudolph Award recognizes a Jewish communal professional employed by the Federation or one of its beneficiary agencies who has improved the quality of services and enhanced Jewish life. In considering this year's recipient, I can say that seldom has a Rudolph awardee enhanced so many sectors of Jewish life. Through his role in the creation of HWell Pittsburgh, he helped to transform service to the elderly. He guided development of a program to address the urgent needs of the unemployed. He strengthened relationships between JFNCS and Jewish schools to improve services to students. This year's awardee was instrumental in launching Quest Therapeutic Camp in Pittsburgh to offer children with adjustment disorders a fun therapeutic summer experience. The 2020 Rudolph Award recipient is my friend Jordan Golan, President and CEO of the Jewish Family and Community Services Pittsburgh. He's served JFCS for 19 years and has been its CEO since 2016. Colleagues know Dr. Golan as a highly competent, thoughtful leader. After joining JFCS, he helped create HWell Pittsburgh, which has helped more than 10,000 seniors stay healthy and engaged. Dr. Golan also guided the development of an outcome measurement app that helps older people maintain independence. This app is now used throughout the United States. Jordan is a member of the Network of Jewish Human Service Agencies, which recognized him for helping us recover from the October 27th attacks. I'll highlight that Jordan achieved all the impacts I've mentioned before the COVID-19 pandemic. This year, his effective, creative leadership has guided JFCS through sudden, sweeping changes that have helped JFCS to meet the dramatic spike in every type of community need. On behalf of the Federation and our community, thank you, Jordan, for your service. I am pleased to present you with the Doris and Leonard H. Rudolph Jewish Communal Professional Award.
After Billy called me to let me know that I was this year's Rudolph awardee, I was really genuinely stunned. I've had a lot of heavy things in my mind lately, like all of us have, given the insane world that we're living in. And receiving this wonderful phone call, recognizing me for the work that I do with JFCS in the community, it really took me by surprise. I want to thank the Rudolph family for this award. I've only gotten to know Doris and Leonard through the stories told about them and through the legacy of their impressive family. They lived their life through so much example, and as I've had the opportunity to work closely with Morty during the past year, I see that their example continues to live on right here in Pittsburgh. I'm incredibly humbled by this honor. I've looked at the list of past awardees who have accomplished so much in our community, and I'm really moved to be seen as part of such an incredible group. Along with feeling honored, though, I've been feeling an even deeper sense of obligation and responsibility. As anyone who's ever run a nonprofit knows, or who's ever run any kind of business knows, that it's not good enough to be a good leader of a strong organization. It's the job of the leader to make sure that the organization will be strong even after the leader is gone. Not that I'm going anywhere anytime soon. And as the Rudolph Award emphasizes, the obligation of leadership goes even beyond concerns for the strength and sustainability of our own organizations. It's really about the sustainability of our entire Pittsburgh Jewish community. Now, I've got to confess, I did not grow up with the goal of becoming a Jewish communal leader. As many of you know, I grew up in Miami, Florida. You can tell by my beautiful suntan. And I had a strong secular education and two parents who worked in the public school system. But my family's Jewish values really had a strong impact on me, even if I didn't necessarily recognize it at the time. My father grew up in the Bronx with an Orthodox family, and my mother grew up in Detroit with a labor Zionist family. In fact, my mother spent a year in Israel in 1951 with the youth movement Habonim Dror, where she met David Ben-Gurion at a family wedding. So I grew up with an Orthodox influence on one side and a labor Zionist influence on the other side. And I also grew up with an older sister on one side and with a younger brother on the other side. I've always been a middle child in various ways, the peacemaker, the psychologist. I think that the first time that I really rejected peacemaking in a significant way was when I decided, against my parents' very strong wishes, to leave the United States and move to Israel to get my master's degree in psychology and to possibly stay there. Not only did this experience in Israel cement my future career as a psychologist, but it was there that I met and I married my incredible wife, Lil, and there that I had my first direct experience with immigration, Jewish politics, coexistence, violence, and war. Israel was an amazing, beautiful place to live for 5 years, but the air raids and the chemical weapons of the first Gulf War forced me and Lil to grow up suddenly and to start thinking about where we ultimately wanted to create our family and to decide whether or not Israel would be that home. Lil is from Spain and I was from the US, and so unlike many people, we were fortunate in that we had lots of options to choose from. And now, 2 kids and 30 years later, here we are in Pittsburgh. I don't know if they're watching tonight, but I have to give a really big thank you to Aryeh Sherman and Linda Ehrenrich, the previous CEO and COO of JFCS. I mentioned earlier that effective leaders need to focus on creating conditions to sustain their organizations into the future. Without Aryeh and Linda's outstanding, consistent, and thoughtful leadership, JFCS wouldn't be the organization it is today, and I definitely wouldn't be speaking with you here tonight. They opened my eyes not only to the good that an organization like JFCS can do in the community, they also taught me how to guide and shape and shift an organization in response to changing community needs. And how our community needs have changed in the past few months, and in the past couple of years. Just as Aryeh and Linda left an indelible mark on me and on JFCS, I wouldn't have been able to get through these past few years without so many people. First, the staff of JFCS. Without them, JFCS would be nothing. They are the most creative, passionate, dedicated people I know, and our community is fortunate to have the JFCS staff working for them. Then there's the JFCS leadership team. Our talented, inexhaustible managers work so creatively to figure out how to constantly tweak what we do and create new services so that people in the community will get the help that they need. And Dana Gold and Cindy Paganico, our COO and CFO. We challenge each other, support each other, and constantly push each other to up our game and to try to predict how the next unpredictable crisis might impact our agency and our community. And next of all of our other Jewish communal leaders. I've been so honored to work with many of them over the years, especially through our collaborative work together, and there have been a lot of collaborations, but especially Brian Schreiber and Jeff Finkelstein. Whenever people from around the country ask me how our community managed to respond so quickly with so many supportive services during a time of absolute horror and devastation following the synagogue shootings in 2018, I always mention Brian and Jeff. We put a lot of trust in each other during that crisis. We divided up responsibility for things that needed to be done. We had faith in each other's organizations, and we had each other's backs. And finally, I wouldn't have been able to get through these past few years as a community leader if it weren't for my 2 wonderful, amazing adult kids, Ellie and Gabby, and my wife, Lil. Those of you who know Lil will understand when I say that sometimes life with Lil is like living on the set of I Love Lucy, but with the accents reversed. When I come home after a long day exhausted, or more recently when I hang up my last Zoom call exhausted, I can always count on Lil and her zany antics to put a smile on my face. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? All of our Jewish communal organizations are trying to put smiles on people's faces, making the world a kinder, more just, friendlier place, one person at a time. And it's our job as leaders of this fantastic Jewish community to get out of the way of our talented, dedicated staff and let them do what they do best: help our community members to grow, succeed, and heal. Thank you.
Mazal Tov, Jordan. Each year is the Federation's president and CEO, I report on the organization's activities and accomplishments and share a little bit of what's on my mind. A year ago, I told you that the reason we could respond so quickly to the worst anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history was the fact that the Jewish Federation existed as a strong entity before October 27th. Our work in fundraising, planning, community relations, building collaborations, and security enabled the Federation to bring together people and organizations, expertise, and resources to navigate a turbulent time. This is the second year in a row that the Jewish Federation's core functions and role as convener took center stage as we work to help our agencies and synagogues navigate life during a pandemic. Continuing to meet both pre-pandemic and pandemic-related needs would be impossible without the generosity of our donors, without you. The 2020 community campaign raised $13.6 million, one of the largest increases in many, many years. This has resulted in increased allocations to support our local beneficiary agencies. These unrestricted funds will be crucial in the coming year as they focus on life during and post-pandemic. So I urge you now to once again increase your support of the 2021 community campaign when you are asked. The Jewish Healthcare Foundation's $900,000 block grant for health and human services helped the Federation respond to social service needs due to the pandemic and beyond. We truly, truly appreciate the Healthcare Foundation's ongoing support and deep partnership. The Federation's Jewish Community Foundation added $22 million in new assets, marking one of the most successful years in our Federation Foundation's history. Some of those new endowments were secured through the Federation's partnership with the Grinspoon Life and Legacy Program in its second year in Pittsburgh. 5 new organizations participated, bringing a total of $26 million in expectancies to 19 local Jewish organizations. This highlights the fact that working together across institutions, we get so much more accomplished. In all, total foundation assets under management are now more than $274 million despite the pandemic-driven market downturn due to excellent oversight and management. The Jewish Federation and our national federation system help many Jewish agencies here in Pittsburgh and synagogues apply for Federal Paycheck Protection Program, PPP loans. These dollars have been a lifeline for many institutions, and through Pennsylvania's tax credit program, we secured $3.7 million, providing 773 educational scholarships for Jewish day school and preschool students. When you put it all together, from all revenue sources, the Federation this past year secured in excess of $42.2 million during a very challenging year. Thank you to all of you once again, our donors, for entrusting your philanthropy with us. Despite these successes, due to the economic downturn created by the coronavirus, in the coming year we expect the needs in direct human services, scholarship assistance, and in creating a vibrant Jewish life to greatly increase. We expect the financial shortfall to fund these services to be serious. Our community faces complex problems, including caring for people still traumatized by the October 27th attacks, caring for people suffering physically and psychologically from this pandemic, ensuring safety in an environment with increasing anti-Semitism, alleviating financial distress while keeping people engaged in Jewish life. Thousands of Jewish families in Pittsburgh will continue to experience painful repercussions from the pandemic. While the challenges are truly great and serious, there are changes we can make to get through this crisis and set up our organizations for a stronger future. All of us have experienced online meetings, classes, events, lectures, and programs. The Jewish Federation, we can share that we have learned from creating online content since March. A prime example was when we converted our annual in-person Tikkun Leil Shavuot learning program, which typically attracts somewhere around 400 participants, and produced it in an online version. 911 participants were part of that. We've moved many other classes and meetings to online platforms. There are definitely concepts we can and will carry forward in a post-pandemic time to engage more community members in Jewish life. Second, the pandemic revealed that while the physical buildings of our Jewish institutions are helpful, we are actually able to do much of our work virtually. In June, I penned a piece in the Jewish Chronicle containing the following list of questions. As finances likely tighten over the next few years, where can we collaborate more? Before we are forced to do so, can we envision changes to our Jewish institutions, many which were already struggling before COVID-19? Do we have too many underutilized buildings that require care and maintenance? Could we redirect those maintenance dollars towards engaging people with Judaism and caring for those in need? Can we think about new structures to put us on a path toward achieving our institutional missions? What pandemic-related learning can we apply later about how to provide online content and virtual Jewish community engagement? What would we want the Jewish communal landscape to look like if we started from scratch? We need to address these questions and more. In June, my friend and colleague Rabbi Gibson, upon his retirement after 32 years of leadership at Temple Sinai, wrote in the Jewish Chronicle, quote, "Can our beloved Jewish community continue to proceed with our business as usual? There appear to be too many Jewish organizations and synagogues for our community to sustain," end quote. I stand here virtually at this annual meeting with incredible pride in our Federation's accomplishments this year, and also questioning where our community goes in the future. If we are not changing and adapting to new realities, we will naturally be falling behind. In the game of chess, one does not think about their next move. They consider their next several moves because the first move has an impact on the second and third. We need to be doing the same with our community. As we think about how we navigate this turbulent time, we need to do so considering our short and midterm future. I want to end by thanking one group of people who deserve my gratitude and our community's appreciation. Our Federation staff team has been working nonstop since October 27th, 2018, through some of the most challenging times in our Pittsburgh Jewish communal history. I typically have them stand at the annual meeting to be recognized. While we can't do that on Zoom, I do want them to know how much we all appreciate their hard work and dedication. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to each and every one of you. And while it's still a few weeks away, I want to end by wishing you and your families a happy, healthy, and safe new year. It is now my honor to present the Emmanuel Spectre Memorial Award. The Spectre Award, the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh highest honor, recognizes exemplary service to the community in a single year or over the course of many years. Usually the board chair presiding over this meeting presents the Spectre Award. However, in this very, very unusual year, the Spectre Award recipient is our presiding chair, an unusual choice that rightfully recognizes both decades-long service and extraordinary leadership over the past 3 years. The recipient of the 2020 Emmanuel Spectre Award is my friend, our board chair, Merrill Kirshner-Ainsman. Merrill is the business manager of the law firm of Ainsman Levine and the executive director of the Philip Chosky Charitable and Educational Foundation. As the board chair of the Jewish Federation, Merrill has risen to every challenge with business-like focus tempered with grace, and she has had lots of challenges. Her passion for the community as a whole includes a concern for individuals, a concern that everyone around her feels. Her warmth, diligence, and humility has helped us pull together through extraordinary, painful, complex issues. Merrill's involvement in Pittsburgh's Jewish community began early. As a teenager at the JCC, she worked on many projects and wrote for the YIKC newspaper. Her JCC participation culminated in a 3-year term as board chair. Concurrent with her JCC work, Merrill has been a consistent Jewish Federation volunteer for 35 years. Beginning as a campaigner, Merrill went on to committee and task force work and mission travel. She credits the Federation's Koach Young Leadership Mission in 1989 as the event that sparked her dedication to helping Jews in Pittsburgh and around the world. Merrill's list of awards is way too long to cover. From Federation, the Olga and Sidney Stark Young Leadership Award, the Gerald S. Ostro Volunteer of the Year Award, and with her incredible husband, David, the PNC Community Builders Award. A Community Service Award from the Peace Islands Institute and Turkish Cultural Center for her October 27th attack leadership, the Woman of Leadership Award from the Pittsburgh Business Times for her work with the Chosky Foundation. Merrill sits on the board of the Jewish Federations of North America, serves on 2 JFNA committees, and serves on a Jewish Agency for Israel Pandemic Distribution Committee. I could go on and on and on. Instead, please listen to the perspectives of some community leaders, both locally and nationally, whom Merrill know very well.
Dear Merrill, it is said in the Bible that a leader should be a humble person. You're both a leader and a humble person, and we love you for that. I've seen you in the most critical moment in the crisis following the horrific massacre in Pittsburgh. And you were there, you emerged as a great leader together with Jeff and the team. And predominantly now, we've come to realize how great a leader you are as you participated in the board of the special fund we've established at the Jewish Agency together with our partners, which dealt and deals with the crisis of Jewish communities worldwide post-COVID. And you are there again with your wisdom, with your smartness, with your ability to communicate, and with your enormous experience. Good luck to you in all you're going to do. V'atzlacha. We love you from Jerusalem, and we hope to see you here soon.
Hello, this is Eric Fingerhut. I'm the president and CEO of the Jewish Federations of North America, and it is my enormous privilege and honor to join with you in thanking the incredible, the wonderful, the talented, the smart Merrill Ainsman as she concludes her service as the chair of the board of the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh. She has left a mark not only on the Jewish community of Pittsburgh, on the entire community of Pittsburgh, but also on the Jewish community of North America and the world. And we know she will continue to be a leader for many years to come. Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers, teaches us, Marbe Yeshiva, Marbe Chachma. The more we sit together and talk and work together, the more wisdom we generate. Merrill has led us in thinking and working together, and has therefore created policies and leadership full of wisdom. And we also learned Marbe Tzedakah, Marbe Shalom. The more charity, the more peace. She has also led us to more charity, and therefore Marbe Shalom, to more peace. Thank you, Merrill.
What wonderful things can I say about Merrill in 30 seconds? Merrill is present in every way, always in meetings and community processes, always kind, always wears the big hat at the table, and always thinks about community with a big C. Merrill epitomizes the value of hakarat hatov, recognizing the good, and she can always see the silver linings in the dark clouds. They say that Emmanuel Spectre never sat down. In my 28 years in Pittsburgh, I've rarely seen Merrill sit down. She is the V in volunteer, whether it be for the Federation, the JCC, or Partnership Together, with her greatest labor of love being the connective tissue for the extended Kirshner-Ainsman family. Mazal Tov on the Greater Pittsburgh Jewish community's highest volunteer honor. We love you.
Merrill, this evening is about you. Mazel tov, kol hakavod for everything that you have done for this community. I can't imagine a more perfect person that we could have had in place to lead our Jewish community and our Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh at a time like this and over the past 3 years. What you have accomplished, what you've managed to work through, your resilience and your ability to create resilience among all of us is nothing short of phenomenal. You deserve every honor and more. And David and I love you.
Jeff, I'm so appreciative of this award and delighted that you are the one presenting it to me. I'm immensely grateful for your partnership, your leadership, your guidance, and your friendship over these past 3 tumultuous years. When I agreed to serve as board chair back in 2017, you assured me that there would be challenges and serious issues to tend to, but neither of us could have possibly imagined what was to follow. It's truly impossible to express, even for someone as talkative as me, how your constant support and wisdom has been essential in helping me through this incredible journey. I thank you from the deepest bottom of my heart. There are certain events in history whose impact are so significant that they leave an indelible mark on the world. Among these events are the assassination of JFK, the turmoil of the 60s, the horrible events of 9/11, for the Pittsburgh and worldwide Jewish community, the massacre on 10/27/2018. Now the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting the entire planet, including our local community. The measure of a society is how it deals with the aftermath of these events and the lessons that are learned in order to move forward as a better, functioning, and stronger community. So it was in the days, weeks, and months after 10/27. The entire city of Pittsburgh, and specifically the Jewish community, galvanized around the tragedy with resolve, resiliency, and reimagination. The Federation, along with some of our agencies and synagogues, often found ourselves at the helm of these efforts, writing the playbook as we went along. Being the chair of the board during this period was an awesome and daunting responsibility. It's essential to recognize this tragedy both on a macro and a micro level. There were 11 souls that lost their lives, families that will forever mourn their losses, people who were physically injured and mentally scarred, and a community that needed to heal, as well as to be a beacon of light to the rest of the Jewish world. Looking back over the last 36 months, there are some things we did very well, others that may have been done differently. I'm so grateful that in my position as chair, I had the opportunity to go all in and make a difference. While there were many sleepless nights and anxiety-filled days, the personal, spiritual, and emotional growth that I experienced in my leadership role is a gift that I will treasure for the rest of my life. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks has said, "To be a leader, you do not need crown or robes of office. All you need to do is write your chapter in the story, do deeds that heal some of the pain of this world, and act so that others become a little better for having known you." My decades-long involvement at the Federation and the JCC have certainly helped to shape me into the person I am today. Having learned about community service growing up, working for the betterment of our community was literally in my DNA. My mother was active in NCJW and Ladies Hospital Aid. My father was a board chair of the JCC in the 70s. I was so honored to follow his example, becoming board chair at the JCC from 2007 to 2010. I remember the first committee that I chaired there as a young mother in the early 80s. I wasn't sure that I had what was necessary to be a leader and assumed that position with a great deal of trepidation and lack of confidence. Hundreds of committees later, with the help of excellent mentors and teachers, I've realized what it's most important to be an effective leader is to have a deep commitment to the cause and unbridled passion for the community. I can check both of those boxes. And now we face perhaps our biggest challenge, the COVID-19 pandemic. How do we keep our vibrant Pittsburgh Jewish community functioning at its highest level while facing possible existential threats to our long-standing institutions? Our agencies are all suffering, and it is incumbent upon all of us to do what is necessary to again weather another storm. We have to be bold and imaginative and make some very hard decisions. I have no doubt that we can and that we will under the wise and steady leadership of David Suffren and his leadership team. There's so many people to thank for helping me navigate this long and winding road that I couldn't begin to name them all. I'm so appreciative of all the professionals that I've worked with, both at the JCC and Federation, with a special shout out to Tracy Grandelis of Federation, who managed my calendar, kept me organized, and quite honestly helped me manage my life. I look at the lay-professional relationship as a true partnership, each with a unique role to play. The volunteers that I have met and worked with over these many years have become my friends, sharing the same sense of purpose about the important work that we are doing. And no one deserves more thanks than my husband, David. We've been so lucky to have worked together on so many projects. We worked together at Ainsman Levine, have co-parented 4 wonderful children, and now are grandparents to 4 amazing young grandsons. However, lately, my dance card has been rather full. Without his love, support, and understanding, I could never have gotten through any of this without him. 2 weeks ago, we celebrated our 45th wedding anniversary and continue to draw strength and love from each other every day. Again, I'm extremely grateful for this award, but especially thankful for having had the opportunity to do this holy work. I'm the luckiest lady in the world. Thank you.
Meryl, I've been honored to work with you during some of the most difficult times in our Pittsburgh Jewish community as true partners. In addition to the Spectre Award, I am proud to let you know that the Federation has a gift for you, which is a beautiful challah board to say thank you at the end of your 3-year term. We know how much your Shabbat dinners mean to you and David, and we hope you will use this challah board every Friday night with your children and grandchildren. Thank you again, Meryl. So now for a transition. Among the concerns of this time is growing anti-Semitism. Tonight's speaker, Michael Masters, is uniquely qualified to report about security threats. He is the National Director and CEO of the Secure Community Network. The SCN is a nonprofit organization co-founded by the Jewish Federations of North America, dedicated to the safety of American Jewish community. The SCN provides threat information to law enforcement and the community and helps the community work with law enforcement, including right here in Pittsburgh. Michael served Cook County, Illinois as the Executive Director of the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. He was the Chief of Staff of the Chicago Police Department. Currently, he is a member of the Department of Homeland Security's Foreign Fighter Task Force. Michael earned a master's degree from the University of Cambridge and a Juris Doctorate from Harvard Law School. In the U.S. Marine Corps, he was a captain. He's also a board member of the Bernard Zell Anshe Emmett Day School in Chicago. Please welcome my friend, my esteemed colleague, Michael Masters, National Director and CEO of the Secure Community Network.
Thank you for the invitation to be with you this evening. It is my distinct honor to join the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh in close partnership as always. My particular thanks go to your tremendous leadership, President and CEO Jeff Finkelstein and Board Chair Meryl Einsman. A special mazel tov to Jeff on his 22nd year anniversary with the Federation and 16 years as CEO. Our Jewish community nationally is made stronger by your leadership and wisdom. We live in unique times. With respect to safety and security, the times are also challenging and likely to become more so. While the COVID-19 pandemic has changed so much of our lives, disrupting our interactions and forcing us to close our facilities, it has not stopped those who hate us or wish us harm. This means that when our organizations do reopen, we need to be even more committed to safety and security. As your community knows better than any, we will not choose the time and place of the next incident, but there is much we can do to be more safe and more secure, more empowered and resilient. The Secure Community Network, or SCN, the official safety and security organization of the Jewish community in North America, is working in partnership with federations, to include yours, as well as national partners, to ensure that our Jewish community is as safe and secure as possible. The Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh is not only keeping your community safe locally, but leading the way nationally and continuing to set the standard for community security programs. Prior to the current global pandemic, conditions facing the Jewish community in the United States were already of grave concern. 58% of all religiously motivated hate crimes were directed at our community, the highest level in decades. As the community's official liaison with federal law enforcement, we jointly assessed that we were facing the most complex and dynamic threat environment in this country and directed at our community than at any time in our nation's history. We on this call know the reality of this hate. Since the attack on your community in October 2018, close to 24 individuals have been arrested for plotting similar attacks on Jewish institutions. In 3 cases, they were successful: Poway, Jersey City, Muncie. Through the pandemic, we have seen a rise in online hate and anti-Semitism, an increase in threats. Our partners at the FBI have arrested near record levels of domestic terrorism suspects since the beginning of 2020. Working with federal law enforcement, we've identified individuals and groups that are seeking to exploit the current pandemic to incite anti-Semitism and encourage violence. No space is safe. We've seen an uptick in cyber attacks, harassment, and crime. In the last several days, a member of a neo-Nazi white supremacist group pled guilty to vandalizing a synagogue in Wisconsin. That same day, the FBI announced the dismantling of 3 terrorist cyber financing campaigns involving Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and Hamas's military wing. Physical threats, cyber threats, white supremacists and neo-Nazis, Islamist extremists, state and non-state actors. Just like Israel has an iron dome to protect itself, we are working to build a security shield over the Jewish community here in the United States. Just like what you've done in Pittsburgh, but nationally. And we must. Our goal is not just to guarantee the security of our organizations or facilities. As you know, it's not just to preserve life, it is to grow it, to ensure that Jewish organizations and communities can not only exist but flourish, and it's critical we do so. We are facing well-armed, highly motivated, and often well-trained individuals intent on taking Jewish lives. The Pittsburgh community knows all too well what that threat looks like, but you also know what's required to prepare. Whether someone is walking into a Jewish day school in Monsey, New York, or a synagogue in Monterey, California, what is necessary is a best practice, standardized approach overseen by professionals, experts like Brad Orsini and Sean Brokos. SCN is working to create a stronger network amongst existing security directors and ensure every community across America has access to the same professional support in coordination with law enforcement, implementing a strategic, coordinated approach to security through policies and procedures, standardized assessments and physical security measures, as well as life-saving training, like the training that Brad delivered to thousands of members of the community and that Sean continues to deliver even now and virtually. SCN is building the national infrastructure to ensure all communities, regardless of size, capacity, or geography, have access to a professional, best practice, and standardized security program. We are replicating the model you implemented in Pittsburgh nationally. Our 24/7 operations center, staffed by a team of intelligence analysts, is tracking operational threats and security issues every day. It's what allowed us to identify a violent neo-Nazi making threats against one Jewish community just last week, alert the Federation's security director, and work with law enforcement to track the offender. Thanks to the leadership of your Federation and a group of dedicated individuals from Pittsburgh, we are building a unique best-in-class technology platform to track security threats and address them nationally. We are building that security shield, and we are doing it in partnership with your Federation and others. The Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh Security Program, under Jeff's leadership and initially led by Brad, who joined SCN as our Senior National Security Advisor, and now under the expert guidance of Sean and supported by Aaron Weiland, is an example to others. Over the last several months, the Pittsburgh Federation Security Program has tracked anti-Semitic incidents and worked with local, state, and federal law enforcement, trained and coordinated security professionals to respond to pandemic-related needs, to include cybercrime, and how to reopen facilities safely, continued to work to protect your facilities and train your community, and provided critical grant writing guidance and assistance. One example of the relationship and coordination between SCN and the Pittsburgh Federation Security Program is the Countering Active Threat training delivered and made available to members of the community by Sean. This critical training, developed in partnership with Sean between security directors, SCN, and other experts, is designed to prepare participants on how to respond during a crisis situation. It teaches us, as Brad always reminds us, to commit to action. Thanks to generous support through the Pittsburgh Federation, the Blue Point Alert System was accelerated in your schools and early learning centers. Like a fire alarm, Blue Point alerts people to threats in real time, buying us the precious seconds we need to be safe. The COVID-19 environment presents new challenges. Just as we must work to reopen our facilities, we have to recognize that they face not only long-standing threats, but new and increased ones. Working together at the local and national level, we can ensure we are prepared to meet those threats. SCN remains deeply committed to supporting the Pittsburgh community, and we are honored to work in partnership with you. And we can succeed by continuing to create an empowered community, to build a culture of awareness, not succumb to a sense of fear. When the lives of Jews are in danger, in peril, whether one or the collective, we together step up. For thousands of years, the Jewish people have endured threats, but we proudly survive and thrive. We will face the current environment and do so again by working together. We look forward to doing so in partnership with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for a very interesting and thought-provoking presentation. As we bring this meeting to a close, I leave you all with this reminder. Each of us is a member of a very special community, a community that cares. If you need help, asking for it may be the first step to a solution. Only if you help yourself can you help others. And I ask you to please stay engaged. Your neighbor, your community need you. We all know that we are resilient. Let's create for our children and our grandchildren a community that's even more inclusive, energetic, and fulfilling than the one we were privileged to inherit. As this webinar ends, I invite you to be inspired by a song that celebrates our relationship through community. The song was created by our Federation-funded Diller Fellows. Good night and thank you. Thank you for this incredible opportunity to chair your federation. Be well and stay safe. Good night.
Connect.